morning, everybody. This is Deb with Curating Memories. Thanks for joining me today. I hope y'all are having a great day today. So today we're going to be using the remaining card kit to create some cards. And if I need to, I might go ahead and throw in some of the scrapbooking kit. Now, the scrapbooking kit, I have a little bit left of the scrapbooking kit as well. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get started and use the rest of our beautiful chipboard pieces along with some of the beautiful things that were in the card kit. To begin, I did a slimline card, and so I went ahead and backed some of the pattern paper onto a glittered cardstock that I had in my stash, and then I backed that onto one of the blue papers that were in the card kit. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut this down, and then we're going to go ahead and we're going to attach this to the front side of the slimline card. Now for my slimline card, I cut my paper at 7 1/4 by 8 1/2, and then I just folded it in half. After you get your mats placed on the front, I went ahead and grabbed this chipboard piece that is from the Jolie shop, and I thought that circle was so pretty and it just really highlighted that blue flower. And so I went ahead and I didn't do anything to the chipboard, I just left it with its natural color, and I am placing glue on the back, and then we're going to stick this on the left hand side onto the front of the mat. And you'll see here in just a minute, we're just going to place it right there, leaving the white glitter paper showing. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to place that bird and flower on, and then it's pretty much done. Then you can decorate the inside how you would like. Now these little die cuts, I had 2 of them left over from the card kit, and I decided to go ahead and place those as an accent on top of this card, and we used the last one on another card, and we're done. Now this card is one of the A2 cards that are in the kit, and so I'm just placing some of the glitter paper that was in the kit on top, and then I grabbed one of the pattern papers and cut that down and went ahead and placed that on top of there. And then we're going to go ahead and use some chipboard pieces. I also used some a doily, and I used a old paper book page to create this card. So I folded down the top corner, right hand corner, and just glued that down for now. Next I went ahead and cut a doily and just kind of placed that up on top of my card there. Then I went ahead and grabbed an old book page, and I went ahead and tore that, and then we're going to go ahead and place that on. I was thinking about using a lace on top of there, but it just didn't look right, so I decided to go ahead and use a book page and just kind of tear that a little bit, and then just go ahead and ink that up with some blue. And I used Stormy Sky for this, and just inking the edges really good. And then I adhered it right on top of the doily. And then we're going to bring in one of those chipboard keys, and we're going to place that right on top of there. And we're also going to bring in some past little items that I have left over from past kits that are just, you know, bits and pieces, not a whole lot. So like this flower, for instance, this is from a past kit that I've had in my stash. So I decided to go ahead and bring that in. This key is actually from the scrapbook kit for this month, and so we're going to use that. We're just going to go ahead and place that flower right there. It matched the paper beautifully. I just love it. And then I went ahead and brought in a small frame. Now these frames are from a past kit. I'm not quite sure. I think it's from a past 2024 kit. I tried to look it up, but I couldn't find which one it was from. So you'll just have to see if I find it, then I will list it down below in the description box. But these frames, you get so many different frames, and they're beautiful. These little white flowers come in several different kits, and they are again from past kits that I have left over. And so I'm just bringing in some things that, because I've used all the flowers from this card kit, so that's why I'm bringing in bits and bobs from other areas. And then here, this is part of that die cut, and I went ahead and this is I cut it apart, so I went ahead and used that piece right there. And then again, these little rhinestones that I'm using are from a past kit, and I'm just placing those up on top of there. And yeah, so we're done. And we're gonna go ahead and add some little pebble stones. Now these stones are from a mixed media kit. They are the art stones, and if they're still available, I'll list it down below for you. They're really fun to have. You can add paint to them, so you can sprinkle these with paint. I just left mine white and just spread them around. They're just a great accent for, around your flowers or around chipboard pieces. Just a really nice way to just add a little bit of something to the card, or your layouts, or whatever you want to, or your canvases. So really fun to add. And again, you can sprinkle them with paint, you can sprinkle them with some stickles, glitter, or whatever you have. And yeah, they're just a really fun to add. Okay, so we're on to card number 3, and now what we're going to do is we're just grabbing one of the blue cards that's in the kit, and we're going to go ahead and make this into an A2 size card, which is a regular standard card. I'm using some paper from my stash. So this glitter, it's not really glitter paper, it's kind of like an embossed paper. It's from my stash. And then I'm using the blue foil cardstock that is in the kit, and so that's going to go right on top of there. I like a lot of layers on top of my card, so and I thought that these went really well together. So I went ahead and added this lace that was left over and from a previous kit, and so I went ahead and added that down. But I needed to place my pattern paper on top of there and forgot. So you'll see here in a minute. I come back in and add that. so I'm just securing everything down real good, burnishing it down. Then we're going to go ahead and add this lace, and I'm going to go ahead and just place that on top of there. Now I do add some little glue dots to the back of the lace, because see how it's folded? It wouldn't unfold, and it had been sitting for a while, so it got kind of folded over, and I went ahead and just stuck some glue dots back there, and voila, it's upright. So I went ahead and cut off the excess off of the sides, and decided to go ahead and add some more glue dots, so that way the lace would stay and not be flimsy and flop all over. So I decided to go ahead and do that. Okay, so this is where I realized I needed to add in my paper, my top mat with the pattern paper on it. And so I went ahead and just glued that down, took off the top layer of that lace, and then added that back down, and then went ahead and just stuck everything back on, and voila, we're good. So then I just went ahead and cut off the excess of whatever was left over, and we're ready for our next part. Okay, so next we're gonna go ahead, and I found this piece, this really pretty white flower from one of the scraps that I had, and I went ahead and used one of those frames from a past kit and framed that up. And then we're just going to go ahead and lay that down. Now, I didn't do a lot of foam tape on the, now you can put foam tape on the back of that if you want to, but I didn't, and because we're just going to lay that flat on our card. And then here I'm making a little envelope using that really pretty polka dot foil paper that's in the kit, and I cut that down to 4 by 4, and then I'm just kind of making my own little envelope and just folding it over the best I can, burnishing it down, and then we're going to go ahead and glue this down. This little envelope turned out so stinking cute. I really like how it looked, and so we're just go ahead, and you can do this with a little 2 by 2, a 3 by 3, a 4 by 4, and then just fold it up, and there you got your little envelope. And so we're just going to glue all of the little flaps down, and then we're going to go ahead and just kind of close that up, stick that on top of there. Now I did add some foam tape on the back of this just because when it was sitting down on top of the lace it was a little higher than what I thought it would be, so I went ahead and added some foam tape to the back of that to lift it up a little bit, and then I added a little rhinestone to the little bottom part of the flap, the top flap. And now I'm just going to add in my foam tape. Okay, so now I'm just going to stick that down, and then I'm going to stick down that frame, and then I found this little word, hello. This was in a past scrapbook kit from I believe last month, and so I went ahead and placed that on one of the little papers, placed that underneath the envelope, and then I'm using this resin piece from my stash. I just thought it was really pretty, and so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and add that on there, and we're done. And now you can decorate the inside however you would like. So I decided to go ahead and add some rhinestones to this. I had these little rhinestones left over, and I put 3 on the corner there, but then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to add I'm going to go ahead and add some around the card just to make it, you know, a little bit more sparkly. And so I thought, you know, so we're just going to go ahead and add some rhinestones to this. It's so cute. I just love them. They're so small and dainty. And that's about it. We're done. On to card number 4. Now for card number 4, I am just using, again, I'm doing a slimline card. And this card is a little bit more narrow than the other card. And so this card is actually cut at 6 by 8, I believe. And so this is just 6 by 8. You're going to fold that in half and then go ahead and mat the front however you would like. Now with this piece, if you saw my last video, which was my folio, it was a nature folio that I did of pictures that I take during my walks. I went ahead and used a die to create some of the film strips that I used in there, and I had some leftover pieces from cutting the film strip out, and I used those in this card. So then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead, and I cut up some of the doily that I had left over, and I'm going to place that in the corners, the top and the bottom of this card, so just like that. And we're going to go ahead and glue those down. And then we're going to go ahead and that blue cardstock that is behind the black mat, top mat, that is actually from my stash. So I went ahead and cut some little squares that were 2 by 2, and I went ahead and added, those are the little squares from the film strip that I cut out to use in the folio. And I'll link the folio here so you can definitely take a look on how I used those with the plastic sheets that came in the card kit. And then I went ahead and just started placing my little squares down. I did fussy cut out some flowers from the remaining scraps that I had from this card kit paper, and went ahead and popped them up with some foam tape. Next, I went ahead and grabbed one of the sets that we got from a past kit, and I went ahead and I embossed the thank you on top of the middle piece here. Okay, so we finished our beautiful cards, and I did a couple of slimline cards and then a couple of regular A2 cards. And so I just used the remaining paper that I had in my stash from the card kit, along with some of the chipboard pieces and things from my stash and also from past kits. And if those kits are still available, I will definitely link them down below. So, and I'll link this chipboard piece down below for you as well. So this is one of the slimline cards I did, and I used this beautiful piece with the circle. I just love this piece. It really accentuates this flower right here in the center with the bird, and then this beautiful flower, and then I used the remaining little die cuts that are in the kit. And then you open it up, and I used some of the remaining die kits that I cut off with a stamp and then covered it the inside with the paper. And I just think this looks so pretty. And then here for this one, I used some of the past little die cuts that I did from the book that I made, the little mini album that I made, the folio. And so I used those as for the cards. So if you do something like that, you can always use the negatives that you punch out, and you can definitely use those on your cards. And then I went ahead and used the blue cardstock that you see is actually from my stash. So, but there is blue cardstock in the card kit that you can use. It's just I had used all mine, so I didn't have any. So I used that one. And then I went ahead and fussy cut out some of the flowers. I stamped and embossed the thank you on here. And then on the inside, I went ahead and fussy cut out some flowers, placed a little note card in here for my sentiment, and covered it inside with the remaining paper. Here we made a little envelope that says hello on it. I used this little resin piece that I had in my stash. This frame is actually from a past kit that I will go ahead and link down below, and if it's still available. And then I went ahead and punched this flower out from another scrap piece from the same paper kit, from the card kit. And then the blue cardstock, the foil paper, is actually from the card kit, and then the other blue paper, light blue paper, is actually from my stash. So I used a variety of things from my stash in conjunction with some of the past kits, and yeah, and they make beautiful cards. So here in this one, we went ahead and folded this one up down a little bit, placed this little piece up here. This is with the die cut from the kit, and then I went ahead and placed some a key, the chipboard piece, a flower that I had from a past kit. These flowers and leaves are from a past kit, a little frame from another past kit, and then tore some little book paper with a doily and added again the chipboard key. And then the little pebbles that are on here were actually from a mixed media kit. They are the art stones. And so if that is still available, I will also link that down below for you. But these are all of our cards that we created today, 4 beautiful cards, and just using our scraps. So thank you all so much for joining me. Take care, and I will be talking to you soon. Bye.